Good morning, YouTube. Justin here with another, I guess we're going to do a first impression video. I don't really have a video series for these, but I think what I'm going to do is a video series that has kind of a review, so to speak, of different factions. This is the morning after the initial release of the new Kharadron Kharadron Overlords, the new Dwarden, the steampunk steamhead dwarves. Uh, I'm pretty excited. Um, I'm My balloon's a little deflated. I'm not as thrilled with these as I thought I would be. I'm not as thrilled with these as I wanted to be. Um, but we'll see. We don't have any war scrolls or rules yet. We're just going based off of the videos, or excuse me, of the photos that we have, and the 1 minute something video that Games Workshop released. Um, is probably going to be not the longest video in the world. It's just my first impressions, kind of going over, going to look through all the pictures. There's, as you can see on your screen now, there's the Battle Tome cover. It's got this pirate captain on it. It's pretty cool. And there's 11 units, so very similar to like a Fireslayer sized faction. I'm going to say right now, if they don't get a start collecting box, I'm going to be A, super pissed off and disappointed, and B, I will probably not be collecting this faction. I might collect a couple of the ships because they look really awesome, but other than that, I'm probably just going to pass because the Fireslayers are one of the most expensive armies in the game to buy, and I refuse to spend that amount of money on plastic miniatures. So, Games Workshop, please, for all of us regular people who, you know, love the hobby but have a reasonable budget because we have real life obligations. um, if you don't give us some sort of deal to make it a little bit cheaper, you're not going to sell models. Same reason why Fire Slayers aren't selling. You can buff them all you want, but it still costs hundreds and hundreds and hundreds more dollars than any other faction. I mean, I have 2,000 points of Stormcast, and I spent less than $300. Far less than $300, and I have well over 2,000 points of Stormcast. So, I mean, you guys make up your own mind. That's just my little ramble. So, onto the Kharadron Overlords, previously known as Steamhead Dwarden. Now we know it's the Kharadron Overlords. It's very, very steampunk, and I love steampunk. I don't think that it's a bad thing for steampunk to be in a fantasy game at all. It fits with Age of Sigmar. There's the old Dwarden had a lot of steampunk characteristics with their gyrocopters and with the weapons. The new Stormcast have some steampunk-esque things with their collapsible cross bolt guns. The Clan Scryer for Skaven obviously are all pretty much junkyard steampunk. So Free Peoples, and I don't think that steampunk is too futuristic to not be in fantasy at all. I've seen some people comment already over the past 12 hours that they don't like it and they don't think it's fantasy. I think just because it's steampunk is not enough to say, oh, this isn't fantasy. I'm going to go over pros and cons. I'm going to preface this video right off the bat and saying I am on the positive side of the spectrum. There are some cons here for me, but I feel like the pros outweigh the cons, even if it's just by a little bit. So that's my initial thoughts going into it. These are just my opinions. If you disagree with me, good for you. You have every right to disagree. This is just me, giving my first impressions before we have any rules, before we know anything. This is just based off the photos. And I also will preface this by saying that I am not a fan of 40K. And one of the reasons that I'm not a fan of 40K are two things. A, overcomplicated rules. If you, well, they're just that complicated because you don't take the time. But no, they're overcomplicated. For me personally, they're not something that I am interested in. There's way too much going on. Really busy rules and really busy models. Oversaturated with just microscopic details. It's just too much. Way too much detail. and it makes the model look busy, and I don't like it. Uh, with that being said, they're doing with these Dwarden just like and even more so than the Stormcast, where they're trying to get people from 40K into Age of Sigmar because 40K is far more profitable than Age of Sigmar. I mean, that's a fact. So that's why everybody they're Sigmarines. That's why they made them look like the Stormcast. They model very similarly Space Marines. But they've got sword and shield and bow and arrow versus plasma pistols and rocket launchers and blah 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 blah. What they've done with these Dwarden, in some ways, really makes me sad because they literally I thought that this was a 40K faction when I first saw the photos. Uh, Nothing about this said AOS, other than the fact that it's Dwarden. I thought that this was for 40K. Um, Oversaturated details, just really cluttered, busy look. Um, every single fucking unit seems to have some sort of shooting, or pretty much every unit has some sort of missile attack, some sort of gun, some sort of shooting. And I don't think that that's really necessary. I don't personally have fun playing a gun line in Age of Sigmar. My opponents don't enjoy when I play a gun line in Age of Sigmar. It's just, from my personal experience in my community where I play, gun lines usually don't end up, you don't end up having a fun gaming experience when you just bring all shooting. Like, and I'll go into that later. But overall, I will give this a thumbs up. I'm going to say that right now. I do have some negatives, and I don't want people to think that I'm shitting on this new faction. I love a lot of the stuff that they have here, and we're going to go into that right now. All right, so this is the Archanaut Ironclad. This seems to be the flagship of the fleet. I'm going to start right off by saying this is an S+. This is fucking amazing. I love everything about this. This is absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to buy, assemble, convert, paint. I'm super excited. Blown away. And this is what I'm going to get into. There are very, very, very positive aspects of 40K that they are starting to bring into AOS, and I'm so happy. And this seems to be one of them. There's rumors before that we were going to get basically a troop transport, like in 40K, and this seems to be it. It has a very deep hall with a door on it. To me, this is my personal impression that this is going to be our troop transport, and I'm all for it. 2 thumbs up, giant smile, love this model. The dwarf face obviously has like this crazy beard and hair coming off of it because these guys are sky pirates. These are steampunk sky pirate Dwarden, which makes sense because traditionally dwarves are very greedy fuckers, aren't they? They're like, they hoard all their treasures in their mines, in their caves. So it makes sense that these guys are now pirates in the new age, and they're not everything is lawful good. So I'm super happy. I like the purple. If you guys have seen my gyrocopter gyro bomber, mine are going to be really dark emerald green with gold and bronze and stuff for accents. And but either way, I love it. There seems to be a guy up here in the crow's nest. Maybe some sort of lookout ability, some sort of to hit buff or some sort of buffing thing up here. I'm assuming this might have the hero keyword, like maybe if a captain is on here, like the captain of the fleet, behemoth maybe, war machine, who knows. It's got cannons, it's got a Gatling gun on the front, it's got some bombs, be dropping those like the gyrocopter gyro bomber. All of these things have an anchor. Now, I'm not sure if that's aesthetics or if that's actually going to play a role for the game, but that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I love everything about this. This looks to be the Star Drake base, which means this is going to be pretty decently large unit. I'm pretty happy with it. This is just amazing. Um, I don't see this being particularly fast. Maybe 12 inches. I mean, 12 inches is not slow, but I don't see this being like 18 inches or something where you just fly across the board in one turn. I see this as a decently fast unit for Duarden and drop them off where they need to be, and out come all of the foot troops, and there you go on to the battle. So yeah, this is an amazing looking unit. Um, it doesn't appear that it's going to be too melee focused. I mean, it's a gunship. Probably some guys on deck would have like some harpoons or hand weapons or something to stab and poke. Other than that, it's a shooting unit for a ship, so that's pretty legit. All right, and the next ship here is the Archanaut frigate. Again, S plus, 2 thumbs up, big smile. Love this ship. The airships are by far just the best part about this faction, in my opinion. This seems to me be more of the battleship. You've got a harpoon. This is the one that was in the photo of the leak that was a couple weeks ago, where we saw just the top part of the balloon. I say the word balloon with air quotes, and that was fighting against the Bloodthirster. They've enlarged that image. I don't have that here because I couldn't find a spot for it. Anyways, the harpoon on the front, I'm assuming, has something to do with monsters, because it's fighting against the giant Bloodthirster. So I'm assuming that either it has something to do with the monster keyword, or it's, deals mortal wounds to deal with those big wounded characters or big wounded models. So that's my assumption right there, is that big harpoon gun on the front, it has to do with those. It's got cannons, it's got bombs to drop underneath the back of the hull. You can see those. I'm not the one preface I'll say with this that I'm not in love with is the fact that they're not actual balloons. It's not the end of the world. I would have personally liked it to be a little bit more of a Zeppelin look with like a real actual balloon rather than just metal balls in the air. But I mean, it's whatever. It's not that bad. This dude definitely seems like there is some sort of scout mechanic to be had, because on top there is the that watchtower looking guy up in the top of the crow's nest, and he's got a telescope. So I'm definitely assuming that there's going to be some sort of scout mechanic where, pick a unit within X amount of inches, and all of your Kharadron within blah, 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 blah can gain plus, some sort of buff. And that's what I'm assuming with this. There's a dude on the deck who doesn't seem to have a weapon. He seems to have some sort of tool. So maybe that's like a cogsmith type of thing, where maybe this is more of like a hunter/support unit. I don't know. We'll see. But I like it. Seems pretty freaking dope. Alrighty, and this is the Grunstock Gun Hauler. Seems to me it's the smallest of the 3 ships. Lots of bombs on the back. Got a big cannon, and then the dude behind the cannon's got another gun. The propellers up top by the balloon are basically a spitting image of the propellers on the what's it called? The gyro bomber, and I like it. I like the fact that it's got the bombs back there. There's different shapes of the bombs that they drop. I love it. They've got the Dward and the little face up top, and to go with the new pirate face down on the hull. Yeah, this seems to be a quick little puddle jumper. This is just a quick little gunship. This seems to be like a gyrocopter, gyro bomber type of unit, like very similar to those as far as what it would do in game. I'm really excited because, well, I'm excited / nervous because I'm curious if we're actually going to get to use or see the gyrocopters and gyro bombers in the rules. We can only speculate now, so on that part, I'm really nervous because I bought a gyrocopter and a gyro bomber, assuming that they would be part of this, right? Like, look at those in comparison. You would assume that they would be included. So I'm not too sure, but either way, this ship looks really cool. Seems to be one, if not two, crew members. I love everything about this. This is super awesome. Um, Obviously, the paint scheme is going to come into play the more we get into more of the like foot troops and stuff. But right here, I mean, the purple looks fine. The brass and the gold, everything I like about it. So, yeah, this is just amazing. These three airships are by far the pinnacle of this faction to me personally. This is what really stands out. This is what makes me really happy about this faction, are the airships themselves. They all seem different sizes and different. It seems like there might be three completely separate kits, which is interesting. They don't seem to have many like dual purpose kits. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But just my first initial impression, that's what it seems like here. And now we get to my first real complaint. If you couldn't guess it, it's the chainsword. This dude's power armor with the chainsword, and it's just like it screams 40K. And I'm not a fan of the aesthetic of 40K. It's a big reason why I don't play 40K. I don't like the aesthetic. I love the jump balloon. I love the little mech suit that he's got. I actually like the top hat. I know it's pretty generic steampunk to have a top hat, but I like it. I love the little like wrist. He's got like three little barrel guns on his wrist. He's got a big cannon above his head. The metal beard, I mean, it's whatever. They said in the community post that all of the Dwarden are there's zero. They said that they don't show a single ounce of skin on any model. They're completely covered from head to toe, so that way they can go within any realm and not be worried about the weather or toxic fumes. They basically have like astronaut, steampunk Iron Man suits. I'm not 100% about that, but it's not the worst thing in the world. The problem that I have here is the choice of what it looks like. There's no cloth. This dude is armored from head to toe. And I also don't like the color scheme, how they just painted it gold. And I really, really hate that chainsword. I think it looks fucking retarded. I think it looks retarded in 40K. I think it looks retarded here. It's just my personal opinion. You guys are allowed to think whatever you want, but I hate it. So if this dude is worth buying, and if they have the start collecting box, and it's affordable, and all the ifs fall into place, this dude in my army will not have that fucking chainsword. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but that's got to go because that is hideous. It's 40K. That's an aspect of 40K that does not belong in Age of Sigmar. The troop transport, awesome. The things with like a couple different weapon options, fine, no problem. The customizable rules, you can take this artifact or that, fine. But the actual aesthetic of just copy pasting a Space Marine power armor with a chainsaw and just plopping him into a dwarf body and giving him an air balloon, an AOS figure does not make. That's not acceptable for me. I'm not happy with that at all. Everything else about this model is all right. I like the idea of him having this little pseudo mech walker with a jump balloon and he just kind of flies around. I'm assuming he's going to be pretty badass in game. So, I mean, because historically speaking, the newer releases have had good rules, whether, albeit a little bit overpowered. We'll get into that. But just on initial impression, I like this model. But that chainsword's got to go. That's a terrible decision. It's going to turn a lot of people off. My personal opinion is that it's going to turn a lot of people off because that's not Age of Sigmar. I'm not going to say that it's not fantasy. I'm going to say that it's not Age of Sigmar. But other than that, this guy might be cool. I'm going to wait to pass further judgment on him until I see his rules. But as of right now, he's going to kind of get not a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's just going to kind of be medium because there's certain aspects that I really love. The gun on his wrist, the little top head is freaking awesome. I think the little mech walker type of thing is kind of cool with the jump balloon and the cannon. And he's just this really badass looking, single hero. But the power armor is absolutely atrocious. The chain sword is fucking terrible. So we'll see. This guy is called Brock Grungson. All right, and the next hero here is the Endrin Master. Endrin Master. I guess it's a little play on words for Engine Master. I really like it. I think that's a little bit unique and kind of different and a little wacky. Aesthetically, I give it 7 out of 10. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's pretty good. I don't like the color scheme at all. I give the color scheme that GW chose here like a 2 out of 10. There's just so much clutter with all the different metallics going on, and they all highlight up to silver, and it's really, 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 really busy with all those tiny little doodads and knickknacks everywhere. And again, it's one of the things that I don't like about 40K. But let's look at the positives. He's a melee unit. Hey, it's not all gun line. So that makes me a little happy because A, I don't really like playing all gun lines. B, people don't like to play against all gun lines. And C, I mean, this is a fantasy game. There should be some fucking melee units. There should be, some Dwarden that go up and just smash some face. It shouldn't all just be guns. So that's a little caveat that I have, a little negative. So the Endrin Master obviously has this power armor, little robotic arms with his power suit helping him wield this giant steampunk hammer. I think he's going to be a badass. I think he's going to be like a Orc Megaboss or a Grimwrath Berserker type unit where he's just going to be a solitary wrecking ball force, little wrecking ball hero. Yeah, I like it. He's got this steam pack with like an anvil looking thing on his back. I like it. I think it's dope. I think the big problem here is the color choices that GW chose to use. I think you could add some more color to the armor. There's no reason that some of these metal plates can't be painted other colors than gold, silver, or bronze. You could paint them whatever color your armor. Like mine is green, so I'm going to have a lot more green in mine to break it up a little bit and make it a little more cohesive and less busy, I guess, with all these metallics. So I give this guy a straight up thumbs up. I like the Engine Master a lot. Alrighty, this seems to be the first of the support troops. This seems to be like a cogsmith, priest, rune lord type of character. This is the Etheric Navigator. Now they said in the community post that this was going to be like an alchemy type thing, which I'm all for. I love Full Metal Alchemist. I love the world over there in that anime. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. So the Etheric Navigator, he's got this staff which has a bunch of telescopes on it. It looks like he's got some sort of device in his other hand. It gives me a lot of feel to like the Celestial Hurricanum in that range where they've got like the Astral Compass with the new Stormcast. I like it. I like it a lot. Again, I'm not a big fan of the painting style that GW chose because it's all brass and gold and it's pretty much all you see. But that's just, that can be just changed with painting. There's no reason that some of these plates can't be, like I said, my Dwarden are green, so there's no reason that you can't add some green in there. So other than that, I give this guy 2 thumbs up and a big smile. That's this dude's awesome. This dude's straight like 9 out of 10 for me. I love it. I'm excited to see what he could do for rules. Again, I'm guessing that this guy is going to be obviously like a buff wagon and support. So I'm assuming because his name is the Navigator, so he's going to have something to do maybe with, he's got the telescopes, so maybe, pick a unit within X amount of inches. All of your guys can do such and such and such extra to that unit because he's scouting them out. He can see him. He's relaying to his troops, hey, this guy's over here. So I'm assuming it's going to be something like that with his abilities. It doesn't seem like he has any weapons. Maybe he just clubs you over the head with his staff, but it doesn't seem like he has any guns or anything. So hey, another unit that doesn't shoot, but he's a priest, so it doesn't really count. Isn't he? Definitely does not seem like a damage dealing unit of any kind. That's what I'll say. Um, Not overly busy. A lot of the stuff on his armor are just the little rivets, so it's not too crazy. I like him. Pretty legit. I'm pretty happy with the Etheric Navigator. Now this guy, I don't know what the hell to make of this guy. This guy is called the Aether Chemist, and they spelled chemist differently. It's Khemyst, so kind of that KH like Kharadron. This is their alchemist. This is their straight up like alchemist. I don't know why they didn't just call it the alchemist. But either way, I don't understand what this leaf blower in his hand is with the shower head, and then out over here he's got another device in his right hand. Don't really know what these are supposed to be yet. One possibility is that this is some sort of like poison gas. He's an alchemist, so he makes some sort of toxin and spreads it around and poisons to debuffs. That's my initial reaction when I see this little leaf blower in his hand. Not too big of a fan of that. I do like that we see a lot more cloth. This is starting to be the look that I like. If this was the look that was in that Brock Grunkson had, where you could see some cloth and then he's got like segmented armor and you could see the cloth between it, so you have kind of like that old school like 1900s diving suit look. That to me says more steampunk than just a fully armored clad, covered in head to toe space marine power armor suit. I like to see the fact that there's cloth and then it's segmented armor like shoulder pads and arm guards and stuff like that. That's the look that I like. That says steampunk, and that does not look as much like 40K to me. That look I like. The steam pack on his back, again, it's kind of cool. Not sure what it does. We'll have to wait to see the rules. His beard seems to have a bunch of like cogs and wheels and stuff coming off of his little metal beard guard. He's got a tube coming back to help him breathe, so that's another thing that really makes me think that he's going to have some sort of poison gas attack or something. This weapon looks like it might spray some stuff out, and he's got this ventilator to help him breathe. So, this tube going down to his face mask from his back like an air filter. So that could be a way that they go with it. I like the little red tube with the pressure gauge on there. I love that look. This guy says steampunk way more than Brock Grunkson does. Brock Grunkson is 40K, and the Aether Chemist is steampunk. I like it. Alrighty, next guy on foot. The next hero. There's 4 heroes on foot, and then Brock Grunkson with he seems to be like an elite hero. So presumably 6 like standalone hero units. So that's pretty cool. Or excuse me, 5 standalone hero units, not including any of the ships or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. This guy is the Archanaut Admiral. I love the names here that they're using. The Archanaut, which we've seen in which the battle line unit is, which is coming up next, is the Archanaut Company, and then they've got the Archanaut Ironclad and the Archanaut Frigate. So I'm liking that a lot. I like the names. We also have Grundstock, Grundstok, which is another thing like the Grundstock Gunhaul, the Grundstock Thunderers. So I'm liking the names. This is the Archanaut Admiral, like I said. This dude, if you can't guess it, gets a thumb down for me. Way too busy. He's got the air filters or seems to be the air filters in his mask again, which is, goes along with the fact that these guys have their, quote unquote space suits so they can go in any terrain around any mortal realms and not worry about, poisonous fumes in the air or, different weather conditions. They can go in the cold or the heat or whatever, and they're fine with their power suits. That's fine. Part of the reason here, again, I hate the paint scheme. It's just a sea of gold and silver and bronze. I don't like it. I do like that you can see some cloth, like the hand that is holding up his hammer. You can see that there are some straps and some cloth underneath there, and the hand that's holding his gun, the same thing. I like that. It's not full armor from head to toe, again, like Brock Grunson. I love the little base that they have. It gives you some rocks and some jewels, little crystals or whatever on the ground. Big thumbs up there. The blow dryer pistol. What the fuck is that? That's absolutely retarded. Hate it. The hammer that's connected with a hose to the suit. That's straight out of 40K. That's absolutely retarded. There's no reason in a fantasy game that you need to have a hammer connected to a power suit on your back. That's absolutely asinine. Yeah, I don't know. I do like the fact that he's got sort of that Dwarden look still. Like his beard obviously looks like old school like the old school Dwarden had the metal beard masks, I believe, on the Iron Drakes and stuff. It looks similar to that. He's got the beards on his shoulder and on his knee, so that's kind of cool. Again, a lot of this is hard for me to judge because I don't like the paint scheme here because it's just a sea of metallics and I hate it. But if you painted it different colors, it might look better. So I'm going to give this guy like a 6 or a 7. It's not terrible. I'm probably going to cut the hoses off because I hate that look. That's 40K. That's not AOS. That's a big thumbs down there. And that blow dry pistol's got to go. That's fucking retarded. That's absolutely terrible. That looks like shit. And the next picture we're going to look at is the Arcanaut Company, which is presumably the battle line. And you're going to see why I say that this blow dry pistol has to go. Because it just doesn't, like, you got to remember, these are supposed to be Sky Pirates, right? So the hammer, I can't see it in 3D, like I can't see it in 360 view. I can't see all around, but from this angle, the hammer looks stupid to me. I don't really like it. I don't understand why it's got to have the cord to it to power up a hammer. It can just be a fucking hammer for my personal taste. I don't understand why it has to have a hose connected to it. So yeah. We're just going to jump right into the Arcanaut Company. Don't really have anything left to say with the Admiral. Right here is a perfect example of what these Dwarden should all look like. This unit is probably, other than like the airships, this right here is my favorite unit of the entire faction. This unit gets as much praise as one could possibly give. I love every single aspect here. It's not overly armored. There's a lot of cloth here. They have armor plating. They've got, you very, very much feel that these are Dwarden. You very much feel that these are steampunk. And you very much feel that these are pirates. I love every single aspect here. I cannot praise these enough. The beards don't cover their entire body, so you can actually see some of the detail in their bodies and their arms and their stomachs and their... That's cool. Those flintlock pistols get so many thumbs up for me because this is what the Arcanaut Admiral should have. He should just have, like, give them blunderbusses, give them flintlock, like steampunk flintlocks. Look at these pistols here in comparison to the blow dryer pistol from the Admiral. It's just night and day. I love these so much more. This dude has an anchor axe with a triple-barreled flintlock pistol. Fucking brutal. The dude over here on the left has a machine gun. The dude over here on the right has a harpoon. So I'm assuming it's going to have something to do with taking out horde units with a machine gun. The harpoon is probably going to be something against monsters. That's dope. The spear guy probably going to have something to do with against monsters. Everybody else seems to have hand weapons. And if you look really close, the guy on the very top left, he's got an axe, and the handle of his axe is a wrench. That is just so perfect. It screams steampunk. It screams Dwarden. They're builders. They're mechanics. They're engineers. I love it. Love, 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 love. This, to me, is the golden nugget of all of the troops, not including the airships. This, to me, is my favorite unit of the entire faction. This is awesome. This is the saving grace why I'm not just being like, yeah, I'm not really interested in collecting this faction anymore. Because these guys are freaking dope. I love, like, even the swords have like a socket wrench on the bottom. It's not, like I said, it's not overly done with that power armor. You can see that there's a lot of cloth still. This screams steampunk. It does not scream 40K. I love everything about this. This, to me, this is what the rest of the faction should look like. So if there's some way to convert some of the things that I have a problem with, I'm going to, because these knock it out of the park for me. And then we come to the next foot troop, and my excitement just gets completely quashed. So these are the Grunstock Thunderers. So we already have the regular Thunderers, which are the sword and shield, or the hand weapon and shield, or whatever, from the Dispossessed. These are the Grunstock Thunderers. These guys are not a total bust. They have some good aspects. They have pros and cons, just like everything else here. First of all, we're going to talk about the pros. The pros, they have a lot of similar aspects to Old Dwarden. I like it. I like the fact that you have the Old Dwarden mask or something similar around. I like that. This dude over here on the right has a very similar to a Cogsmith type of banner on his back. The dude up front with he very much looks like a captain or an admiral, a very naval, this is a sky pirate type of thing. I love the look there. This dude down in the front. They all have very interesting, unique weapons, but the problem is they're all fucking guns. You notice a problem here? Every single unit in this faction seems to have some sort of artillery, except for 3. There are 11 units, and only 3 of them don't seem to have a missile weapon. That seems pretty overpowered. I'm not looking forward to people calling me a troll. I'm not looking forward to people flaming me. Oh, you're just bringing the OP because it just shoots you off the board. Oh, this is fucking broken. I'm not looking forward to it. This unit is a big miss for me. I feel like GW could have made this unit like paladins, like blood warriors, like Ironjaw brutes. This could be like an elite infantry unit, and instead they just gave us another shooting unit. And then on top of that, it's 100% 40K. This dude's got a rocket launcher. This dude's got a multi-melta. This dude's got an assault rifle. This dude's got, you know what I mean? Like, come on, really? You're supposed to be sky pirates. That's a bit ridiculous. I do like the look of this dude with the rocket launcher because he's got the little shield thing, and it's not terrible. And the dude up top, he does have reminiscent of the organ gun, but it's like handheld. Then the dude on the top left looks either like a flamethrower or a smoke thing or a grenade launcher, like, popping off little, kind of like the Skaven mortar rounds or something. The captain down in the middle looks like he's got a grudge raker, which is the weapon that the Cogsmith or the Belagar, or whatever his name used to be, looks like something that he has, like a shotgun. I just wish that they went a little bit more pirate and a little less 40K with some of these weapons. And personally, what I would have done with this aesthetic here, I would have a positive from 40. If you wanted to steal something from 40K and get people from 40K over here, what I would have used, everything else could have been similarly, let's say, I would have added more cloth, more steampunk-esque, and less straight-up power armor to Brock Grungson. And then I would have taken these guys, and instead of giving them all different guns, I would have given them the power fists. And they would have, like, if anybody's played League of Legends and knows the champion Vi, she's got giant steampunk gauntlets, and she just punches the hell out of things. That seems very dwarvy to me. Dwardeny, whatever you want to call them. Like, instead of jumping off the ship and these guys shoot everything, they could have jumped off the ship and pummeled everything to death. And it could have been a very elite infantry type unit. You know what I mean? Star Soul Mace area. There's a lot of things you could have done there. And that's still reminiscent of 40K, and you would have still brought people up. But I'm not... These things get a thumb down for me because it seems unnecessary to have another shooting unit. So I like some of the aspects here, but altogether I'm going to have to give this unit a big thumbs down because it just seems unnecessary, and it's just another reason for people to flame me for playing this army. And there's already enough people flaming me because it's, you know what I mean? Oh, you're just jumping on the bandwagon with these new factions. Yeah, I like the new factions. I don't like old shitty models. I like new models, new kits. Sorry. But I don't know. We're gonna have to wait to see Final Judgment. Like I said, with a couple other ones that I'm a little hesitant about or negative about, it's because we have to wait for the rules. Maybe they're not overpowered. Maybe it's actually maybe they have some sort of use where it's like, oh, it makes sense to have another shooting unit. But on first glance, it seems a little excessive. Last but not least, we have the Sky Riggers. That's all it's called, Sky Riggers. Uh, These guys are Dwarden with jump balloon jetpacks, blow dryer pistols, harpoon spears. Looks like some sort of these things floating up above them look like mines that you would find in the ocean, like submarine mine, like proximity mines. So maybe that has something to do in the rules. Like if somebody charges them, uh, there's some sort of dice roll or something that they kind of like a stand and shoot where they would take damage from being around the proximity mines and they would explode. So that's pretty cool. The blow dryer pistols, again, hate it. Like they're absolutely terrible. Probably going to kit bash and use the flintlock pistols from the Arcanaut company because these are terrible. The harpoons, those are what we saw in a previous like a leak on the Warhammer community a couple weeks ago. This dude, I've seen other pictures where this guy over here with the Gatling gun has a couple different weapon options. He can also take a grapple hook type of thing. So kind of like the harpoon gun that we saw in the Arcanaut company. So maybe something to do with, you could choose, do I need to take out horde units? Do I need to take out big beefy units or monsters? So that's pretty cool to have versatility there. That is a good thing with versatility. It's not overcomplicated. It's not oversaturated rules where it's just so much to take in. You basically, hey, you have one special weapon. Do you want to take out a bunch of small guys or you want to take out a couple of big guys? So that's pretty easy. I like that. I like the simple fact of Age of Sigmar. And people who are fans of Age of Sigmar, I think really like the fact that it's a simpler game. In no way, shape, or form do I want it to get overcomplicated like old school 8th edition or like 40k currently is, where it's just clogged and cluttered and just really busy and way too much bookkeeping. The balloons, I'm not a big fan of. I wish they were actual balloons. I've already said that, but it's not the biggest thing in the world. That's not enough for me to like give these a thumbs down. These guys get 2 thumbs up from me. I love it. They do have new flight stands, which are like kind of curved and bent. Not sure if I'm going to use I don't actually mind the look of having clear plastic flight stands. I know a lot of people do. I don't mind it. Not at all. These guys, I might use the flight stands. I might not. But like the big ships, I'm probably going to use the flight stands. I like the look of it. When I see the flight stands on the model, it's just a clear plastic, and I imagine that the flight stand is not there. I use my imagination. It's not. That's just me personally. So the flight stands don't kill it for me. These guys, maybe I'll put them on flight stands. Maybe I'll do something else where they're like jumping off a cliff or something. But these guys are pretty dope, other than the blow dryer pistols. I'm wondering if these are going to be kind of like prosecutors where they just sit back and shoot all day, or are they actually going to have, or be like a Ripperdactyl where they can fly in and actually do some melee damage and have a little bit of a footprint that way. These Sky Riggers are pretty dope. I'm going to give them a thumbs up. I'm pretty pleased with them. Again, the paints, I can see a lot of cloth. The paint scheme on the balloons where it's just all brass, I'm going to probably change that up a bit and add some more color up top to the balloons. But that, again, is just paint style. It's not the end of the world. I love, again, that their power armor. They look like they have power armor, but it looks Age of Sigmar power armor. You can see a lot of cloth. It looks steampunk. It does not look like 40k. Again, this shows that they got the concept right some of the time. So that's my biggest complaint is like, come on. I can see that you guys know what steampunk's supposed to look like, and you guys have the capacity to not make it directly copy from 40k, but you still chose to do that in some of the units, and I'm not very happy about that. So again, maybe you can use some of these bodies as a conversion for Brock Grunkson. Who knows? But overall, this is a pretty good unit. I'm pretty happy um, with their overall theme to be able to just kind of jump around and jetpack float around with these little balloons and either give off some you know I'm assuming not super long range because they have pistols and a machine gun, so probably another 9 to 12, kind of like the new Stormcast Vanguard just came out. Their pistols don't have that long a range; they're just nice little cover fire shooting, and it works well for that guerrilla warfare theme. These guys seem to have a very similar style where they just jump around and give cover fire, or stab them with your harpoons. So maybe they can throw the harpoon because it's connected to a rope. It's not like a power cord. So that's really a good sign. And I'm assuming that means that they can throw these harpoons, and then the cord brings them back, and they can reel it in. There's a lot of grappling hook looking items and weapons in this faction. I'm wondering and then the anchor. So I'm wondering if that's going to play into the rules at all, because that's really interesting to me. Maybe they can pull units off of objectives, kind of like the Slaughter Priest or whatever from Khorne, who can taunt people off of objectives. Maybe these guys can do like a Scorpion, get over here, and pull them off units with their grappling hooks. Or for people who play for people who play League of Legends, like Nautilus, where he's got the hook and he drags himself towards you by throwing out the anchor and pulling himself towards you. So maybe they can do that with a grappling hook. So maybe they can grab a piece of terrain and kind of slingshot forward across the map a little bit. Maybe that'd be kind of cool. So those are some interesting ideas that I have here just based off of the initial aesthetics. All right, so in short, I'm just going to wrap this up here. I'm just going to bring back the first image. Overall, I give this faction, just based off it's been out for less than 12 hours. It's just my first, initial reaction to seeing the images. And we only have basically the images that I showed you there. There's one other one that I forgot to save, and it's the blown up picture of the Argonaut frigate fighting midair along with the Skyriggers against a Bloodthirster. Other than that, these are basically all we have right now. And then that little video, it shows a couple of the different other weapon options. Like the Skyriggers can also have that grapple hook gun. It's like a big harpoon grapple hook gun. And we can see that a unit of Grunstock Thunderers, it looks like they all have the same weapon. So maybe not a whole unit of Grunstock can have 5 different guns. Maybe you have to pick one and then they all 5 have it. Or maybe you pick 1 or 2. Or something. Maybe I don't know if they're going to have a unit of 5 separate guns. So we'll see. Overall, I think right now I'm going to give this a 7 or an 8. I'm torn between the two out of 10 because there's a lot of really good aspects here. The Argonaut Company is perfect. I would not change a single thing about the Argonaut Company. Argonaut Ironclad, Argonaut Frigate, and Grunstock Gunhauler. Those are the 3 airships. I wouldn't change a single thing. I really like the way that they went with those, and I love it. Brock Grungson, I would not keep almost anything about him. I'm probably going to convert one from scratch. Endrin Master, I like it. I really do. Probably just going to paint him differently. The Etheric Navigator, love it. Aether Chemist, he looks very strange, but hopefully his rules are good, so it's not that big a deal. Argonaut Admiral, got to get rid of the blow dryer pistol. Got to get rid of those hoses to your hammer. Probably going to give him a brand new hammer. Other than that, he's pretty dope. I already said the Argonaut Company is just, to me, the best part about this new faction. Grunstock Thunderers, I'm going to wait to pass off more judgment until I see the rules. And the Skyriggers, big thumbs up. I like the jump balloons. I like the, floating around. And so all in all, it's pretty good. It's just the blow dryer pistols and the 40k power armor, the 40k power weapons, and the rocket launcher, the multi-melt. I don't want that in Age of Sigmar. It doesn't belong in Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar does not need all of that shooting. Age of Sigmar shooting is not broken. It is powerful. This army seems a tad excessive. It really does. I have to, like I said, I'm going to have to wait to pass judgment until we see the War Scrolls. But on first glance, it seems pretty broken. I'm curious as to see how they plan on, like, what they did in order to quote unquote balance this faction in the rules. And I'm really curious to see the battle tome, which is obviously what's on the screen, because as we can assume, this is going to have, you know, faction specific rules, items, artifacts. They've never given any Dwarden any wizards, so my initial reaction is that we still do not have any wizards. My prediction is that the navigator and the chemist will be priests, and maybe we'll get prayers. Maybe we'll get some sort of alchemic spells. Maybe they work similarly to a prayer. Maybe the alchemists are actually wizards now. Who knows? Leave your comments down below. What do you guys think of this faction? What, based on your initial thoughts? Today is the 15th of March. This has been out for, like I said, less than 12 hours. So based on this initial reaction, what are your guys' thoughts? As always, any comments, questions, concerns, worries, or wonders, leave it down below. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it if you with anybody that you think would enjoy this content. Hopefully you got some painting done as per all of my videos. That's a big goal of this channel, is to give you some content to listen to or watch while you fight the war against some gray plastic. And as always, I'll see you guys next time on an Age of Sigmar video. Let me know also if you like this format where I'm just kind of talking with some pictures and I can kind of do my initial thoughts or review, just not professional review of a faction, or you know, maybe I could do factions that are already released and talk about the pros and cons and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Justin, and I'll see you guys next time.